Who even is Generation X, and why do they always get forgotten about?
No, because literally there was a whole PSA about it. So Gen X is born between 1965 and 1970. Now they have simple, free-range outdoor childhoods because they were raised by silent generation or maybe boomer parents. Now what does that mean? Well, let's go to the chart, besties. So historians began naming generations post-World War I when they noticed that a lot of those veterans were PTSD. So the technology and culture was changing so rapidly that each of these cohorts was developing slightly different personalities based on what was going on during their coming of age time period. So Gen X is raised by silent generation, whereas Gen X grows up as the latchkey kids during the Cold War because there was Cold War paranoia. Vietnam, gas shortages meant stagflation. So parents either both had to work or maybe they were divorced. So that meant microwave TV dinners and kids that sort of raised themselves. There was no parenting blogs. There was no after school travel, sports, emailing. Like none of that existed. Bored? Go outside. But then came the 1980s, where everything was big and loud. The hair, the bangs, the Reaganomics, mass consumerism because now we can trade with China. Home media just exploded. Was it always appropriate? No, not really. But now we have TV, we have movies, we have TV movies, home movies, TV movies, favorite TV movies, music videos, music video, television, all these different genres and all these different clicks and all these different ways that you can express yourself, right? Gen X, did you know that you were living in the golden age of third spaces like the mall, roller rinks, libraries, bowling alleys, basements, arcades, even just the electrical box on the side of the street without a cell phone in sight, and I love that for you. But Gen X is also getting older and noticing things like the AIDS crisis and the war on drugs, and maybe everything isn't as neon and bright and shiny as it seems on TV. And this is where most of the issues started. And Gen X sort of comes into the 1990s more sarcastic and skeptical. The Cold War ending meant that they rejected the excess of the 80s, and there's this shift to grunge, indie, alternative, flannels, docs, and at this point the technology is also exploding, but not like fun home media, but like corporate media. So there's this resistance to sell out culture. So the media wants to call them slackers, but the kids of the 1990s, aka the millennials, the kids are seeing the teens and young adults, aka Gen X, and we want to be just like you guys. You are our older cousin generations, so thank you for paving the way. Now, on to the 2000s, where everything was perfect. Psych! What actually happened was, wait, look at this. What is that? A global catastrophe unfolding on live television, followed by war in the Middle East and a global recession? Gen X has kind of like been there. Meanwhile, the millennials could not cope, so we turned to social media and began sharing our feelings online, and TBH, we kind of never stopped. Now, why is Gen X always kind of middle child? Here's my theory. Millennials, my age, we cling to the 80s and 90s as our childhood. That is our last safe space. While the boomers, they cling to this area as like the last vestige of their youth. So Gen X is a bridge between these two larger, more storied generations. So it's not necessarily that they get forgotten. They don't really want the attention. They're kind of fine to just like fly under the radar like they always have, because honestly, it's whatever.
So what about Gen X today? Well, it turns out a constant fear of nuclear annihilation in your formative years helps prioritize a few things. So they're still out there working, getting it done, and not complaining, because they know that the world has always been a mess, and it probably will always be a mess. So what really matters is who's on the other side of that latchkey. I'm Miss Chella. I'm a millennial history teacher. Please share this video with any Gen X besties, or if you were alive for any of this, let me know what I missed in the comments. Ooh, the street lights just came on. I better go. Later.